as you guys know, Brand and I are kind of all over the place in terms of we're always out coaching clients. We're in different cities. Um, yeah, so we're always traveling. And as a result of that, whether we like it or not, we just end up in various situationships, meeting a lot of girls, so on and so forth. And so over time, we discovered that these girls are getting obsessed with us. And I mean obsessed as in they are starting to really chase us down to whichever city we go to next. And I said, I started breaking it down. I said, what are we doing it's causing them to behave this way? And we broke it down into 7 steps. This is going to be the holy grail of obsession and relationships. Think of these as the 7 commandments of getting her obsessed with you. Okay, you have to do these. I didn't put them in any particular order. I know I say 7 steps. It's more like 7 things you have to do. No particular order. It doesn't mean one's more important than the other. They're all equally important. And also, there's some minor exceptions to doing these, such as number 1, which I'll get into. There's just a small exception to that one, but overall, you want to be doing these 7 things to get the girl that you like really obsessed with you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll try to keep this short for you guys, straight to the point. Number 1, you have to pull and close on night 1. But Jesse, that's so unrealistic. Like, oh, that's impossible. Blah 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 blah. I can already hear you guys saying this shit. It's not impossible. You can do it. We have plenty of students who do it. They do it on fucking Tuesdays, on fucking Mondays when the bars are dead, okay? So it's definitely possible. Me and Brandon do it all the time. Why is it important, and I'm assuming you guys know how to do this, why is it important to pull and close on night number 1? I'll tell you exactly why. It's extremely important because it shifts the power dynamics in the relationship right off the bat. What do I mean by shifting the relationship dynamics right off the bat? Well, think about it, right? The whole time she's kind of making you chase, that sexual benefit of having sex with her. Like she's holding that from you. So the second you do that, you kind of hold the bargaining power over the relationship. Now it's up to you whether you want the relationship to happen or not. So the reason this is important, because the sooner you get it done, the faster it shifts that bargaining power to your end, right? So it makes it a lot stronger for your case. So if you don't know how to do it if you don't know how to pull and close on night 1, this is something we teach in the 10-week program, right? We teach how to get those casual hookups, how to get long-term relationships. A lot of you guys are getting into these long-term relationships with women that you shouldn't. So we make sure that you guys choose the right and correct women to do this with. So we really just become coaches all around. If you want to be a guy that's just, getting laid 24/7, go ahead and do it. Have your fun, right? You deserve to have that fun. But if you want to learn how to have a relationship, stuff like that, then that's also included in the program. How to retain women, how to have women escalate on you, so on and so forth. So this is important. Number 1 is extremely important because it shifts the bargaining power to your end. It kind of shifts that power dynamic more to your side. Extremely, extremely important, which leads to number 2. Usually around the 3-month mark on average is when girls start asking about titles. What are we? Like, are we ever going to be anything? So on and so forth. And so on average is around a 3-month mark. It's not set in stone. Some girls start asking questions after 1 week, after 2 weeks, depending on how much you hang out with her. Some girls start asking until 6 months, right? But on average, around 3 months, you can expect questions of what are we? We've been hanging out a lot. Like, can you tell me if I'm going to be your girlfriend? Are we dating? What's going on? They're going to start getting curious about it. So that's good. That's a good sign in the right direction, because now she's actually thinking about it. Now she's like, oh shit, like I actually want a relationship with this guy. I don't know what he's doing though. He's just kind of like stringing me along. And so you call that situationship. Once you get to that, right, and to this step, the step here is that you have to maintain it for 3 months. If you do anything that gives her the ick that she's like, oh God, I can't believe I slept with that guy, then it's fucked, right? She's gonna leave and she's gonna ghost you or something. Very important that you will understand this. You want to be able to maintain and retain that situationship and make sure that you're saying the right things to make it happen and keep it stringing along for that long, right? Because the more time, remember guys, time equals investment, all right? And it's kind of, the way girls think about things is kind of like a sunk cost. What I mean by a sunk cost, the more time they spend with you, the less they want to let you go, because they look at time as an investment, right? It's kind of like a sunk cost fallacy. Well, I already spent a year with him. I'll try to make it work, even if the guy is a piece of shit. I don't know if you guys act like that too. You guys shouldn't act like that, right? She's terrible. You shouldn't be wanting anything more. Just cut it. Like, cut your losses, right? It's a gambling. Cut it, and go home. Don't lose your mortgage on that. So it's the same thing. You want to be able to retain those relationships for at least 3 months so she could start asking this question. That's kind of like where the obsession really starts. It could be sooner, it could be later, depending on how good your game is, depending on how well you do the other 5. But again, doing these 2 things is going to start building that obsession. Number 3, so you have to be unbothered 100% of the time. What I mean by unbothered, so unbothered simply means you can ask questions about things that she's up to, right? It doesn't mean you don't have the right to ask questions. Yeah, you still have the right to ask questions, but you can't be bothered by her answer. And you shouldn't be bothered by her answer. Because if you have true abundance, which we'll go into number 4, if you have true abundance, like, oh, hey, like she canceled on me. Great, Melissa canceled on me. I'm going to go hang out with Brooke. I love them. I love them both, but, you know, I guess it's Brooke's time anyways. You know, you do rotation maintenance. So you can't be bothered by her choices. If you start being bothered, that means that power dynamic in the situationship starts kind of tilting back towards the middle, because that means you actually want something with her. Okay? That means you actually are invested just as much as she is. If that's the case here, you get to number 3, it's totally fine to actually initiate a real relationship with her if shit starts bothering you. Maybe you should actually place titles on it. So a lot of guys, again, disclaimer, it's totally fine to get to number 3. And at that point, it's kind of evened out, right? She really likes you. You really like her. Things are bothering you. Things are bothering her. She's asking questions. What are we? Shit's bothering you. Might as well make it a relationship at this point. But if you don't want a relationship and you want her completely obsessed with you, again, not saying that she can't get obsessed with you in a relationship, that she can't commit to you 100%. But this is the place to do it if you're going to get into a relationship. No need to keep going, right? If you don't want a situationship, you want something more than that, this is a place to make it happen. Now, that being said and done, you still have to do the other 4 so she ends up really being into you. Okay, a lot of relationships fall apart because they fail to do the other 4 of the 7 relationship obsessive commandments. So that's, you know, very important. You can be bothered if you want the situationship. Cool. That's why it leads to number 4. You have to have abundance. If you want her obsessed, you have to have abundance. Not necessarily because she's like, oh my God, he gets so many girls, I'm so turned on by that. No, it's not because of that, literally. It's because by having abundance, nothing can bother you, 1. And number 2, when you have abundance, girls can pick up on that. And girls are very competitive. So when a guy has abundance, she starts putting her best foot forward, right? She knows you have other girls. Now she's wondering, like, okay, is he picking me? Is he playing games? Like, what is he doing? Like, who does he like? And some girls will even bring that to your attention. Like, hey, are you hanging out with any other girls? Because, like, I'm only hanging out with you, right? It's up to you what you say, right? Every guy's, you know, to each their own. I'm very honest. I decide to be honest with my chicks. Be like, hey, look, I'm single. I'm getting somewhere in my business, helping a lot of men with Brandon. I'm really enjoying life right now. So take that as you will. If you want to stick around with me, and something develops, then that's great. Otherwise, I understand if you don't want to put up with that. Boom, just like that, right? Have abundance. Don't live in a scarcity mindset where you're afraid to lose the girl you're in a situationship with. You decided to be in a situationship with her, so why would you be afraid to lose that? So have that abundance. The way you carry yourself has to be with abundance, and always try to see at least one girl in addition to her. Again, all these are easier said than done, right? It sounds a little tough, but this is all easier said than done. A lot of bullshit out there. Oh, just ignore her text or text her 10 hours later. All this bullshit from guys that read books, right? There's not a pragmatic, practical approach. Me and Brandon have, you know, so much experience doing all this. All our coaches have so much experience doing all this. We didn't read any fucking books out there and talk about theory. Well, fucking this guy said that psychology says XYZ. No, like, we know it from experience. It's kind of like a business professor versus a guy who actually runs a business, right? Who are you going to listen to? The guy who teaches 1,000 students, or Warren Buffett, right? So again, by literally living through all this, not only are we good at execution and application, but we also understand the theory. So everything you hear about there about getting them obsessed with you, it's absolute bullshit. All right. This is the actual pragmatic step-by-step system of how to actually do it. Anything else is either just extra or just hurting you. So if you do this, she's going to be completely obsessed with you. So have abundance, guys, and make sure that she knows you have abundance. You don't have to brag about getting girls or whatever, but in the way you behave, right? The way you are unbothered shows abundance. Extremely important. A lot of you guys have trouble building abundance because you didn't really grow up, or you haven't had abundance in a long time, or ever for that matter. And it's kind of hard for you to act in abundance. What I mean by act in abundance, like the shit doesn't bother you anymore. Because at any given point, you could just go to Whole Foods, you could go to the gym, you could go anywhere and make it happen with any hot girl. So think you're just unbothered. You have true abundance, right? Abundance doesn't mean that you literally have 20 girls. It means that you can get those 20 girls, like the hottest girls in your town. So that's what true abundance is. It's a place of security internally. And once you know that, girls can pick up on it pretty quick, and that on their end, they call it confidence. They're like, you're just so confident. Like, no, I just have an abundant mindset, so that's what you want to do. Numbers 5, 6, and 7 are more about the masculinity aspect of things and the actual relationship dynamic of things. But again, really important. I didn't put them last for any particular reason. Again, these are all kind of weighted evenly, and you kind of have to do all these if you want her to be obsessed with you. But number 5, she has to be aware of your purpose, and you have to demonstrate drive. And I don't mean that you have to show her that you're going to be rich, or you have to flex on her with a brand new supercar, all that bullshit. She doesn't have to know that, or you don't have to do that. But you got to have purpose and a direction in life, because what that's going to do is going to give her a list of what ifs in her head, and she's going to start having a fear of missing out. So she's going to say, oh my God, like, John, who's an artist, he paints murals all over the city. He's not making money, but he has such a big vision for himself, such a purpose. Like his purpose to paint the biggest mural in New York City. That's amazing, right? That's very attractive for her. Despite you not showing wealth, that's gonna be attractive to her. Right, but that doesn't mean that you're a lazy fucking bum artist. No, that means you're making shit happen. Okay, you're just making shit happen. Like you're actually showing the results of the work you're putting in. Like you're actually out painting murals. You're getting paid little money for the murals, but you're making connections, right? You're progressing. You're showing that drive. And so she starts seeing, like, what if he actually does make it, right? Very important that you do this. Whether you're, let's say, you work a 9 to 5, which 90% of you do, and that's totally fine. I used to do that. So if you're doing that, right, make sure she knows that, you know what, I'm going to be manager of the XYZ department. I'm going to be chief XYZ officer of the company, and make sure that you're showing her, you're not just talking, but you're showing her that you're going to do it. Right. And you should be doing this for yourself, but you're proactively like, hey, I'm networking. I'm gonna go see this client outside the city, and you're always traveling, right? Stuff like that. So you want to show her that you have that purpose, and that you're showing, and that you're literally getting places, because that builds FOMO on her end. And when you combine all these 5 together, it's just absolutely deadly, right? Because the dynamics on your end, and she really wants to be with a successful guy. And again, number 5 is really about demonstrating you have the traits of a successful guy more so than your actual success. Very important that you guys do this. A lot of you guys miss this. A lot of you guys think that girls cannot fall out of love, which is absolutely false. This is usually 5, 6, and 7 is where a lot of guys fail after a 6-month, 1-year relationship. You guys get complacent. And yeah, she's not your mom, right? She's not your parent. She's not supposed to push you. You're supposed to push yourself. Very and absolutely important. So number 6. You talk about a future with or without her, right? What do I mean by this, right? So you gave her what ifs and fears of missing out. Now, when you're talking about your future, you can include her, and you could paint the picture for her a lot better. Sorry. You could paint the picture for her a lot better. Like, hey, babe, I'm going to stick to the artist example just because they don't make much money. Hey, I got to go do this mural XYZ. I got to do, whatever kind of art you're in. I don't know where you guys buy your art stuff, but I'm going to go to XYZ store and I need to get all these crafts. Do you want to come with me? Yeah, I do want to go with you. Cool. Whether she goes with you or not, you're going to go anyways because it's part of your drive. It's part of your purpose, right? Hey, babe, I'll go to this networking event. There's going to be a lot of really good potential clients. Everybody's going with their wife. Do you just want to come with me? I'm going to be there around 8 if you want to dress up or get ready at my place. We'll head out. Yeah. You start talking about your future, right? She sees that with you. With or without her, you're going to go to that event anyways. So again, you want to have that purpose. You want to start including her along the way. If you own a business, right? Hey, babe, I'm having trouble with this thing. I know you're pretty good at marketing. Could you give me just some advice? before I reach out to try to hire someone in that team. Boom, you're talking about the future with her. You're including her. They love that. They absolutely love that. So number 7, last but not least, and absolutely not least at all, a lot of you guys don't have any boundaries. Think about it this way: when you, if you guys play video games, when you beat a game in the most extreme of difficulties, that makes you feel good. You're like, wow, I beat the fucking game on the hardest level. I'm him. That's how a girl feels himself. Like, oh yeah, she's with this guy, but he has no fucking boundaries. Like, does he have boundaries for anyone? Does he have non-negotiables for anyone? So when you put strong boundaries, when you put more non-negotiables at the table, if you bring them to the table, she feels more inclined to satisfy those boundaries. She feels more inclined to satisfy those non-negotiables. Right? She's going to put her best foot forward. And by the end of the game, she won, right? Because she's like, oh, fuck, like, this guy is him. He has like all these boundaries, and if no other girl is satisfying them, I'm satisfying them, so I must be that bitch, right? And you're giving her hope that the situationship might turn into a relationship. Hey, yeah, you know what? I have strong boundaries, but that's why I'm not in a relationship. You see how it starts playing all together? And so when you combine all these things, they really get obsessed with you. Absolutely obsessed. They start chasing you all over the country. They start like asking where you are. They start begging you to come out with them. They really start asking questions. They start getting absolutely obsessed with you once you do these 7 things. If you guys do not know or have problems doing any of these 7 things, click the link in the description, book a call with us, and apply for a 10-week mentorship, the Extreme Confidence Blueprint. And we'll get to it. We'll fix it. We'll make sure that you guys know how to do every single one of these things. All right. So see you guys soon. Leave a comment, subscribe, and like, and we'll talk. See you guys.